right, welcome everybody to Coffee and Ham Radio's the late edition, the place where you hear and see it first. We just love bringing you guys the newest ham radio equipment and ham radio tech, and tonight we have tech. Tonight we have Sebastian. What's that?
The only multi-person ham radio variety show still in existence.
That's true. So tonight we have Sebastian, AI2D, who is responsible for, I guess, Polo, and I guess we'll explain this later. It was Ham2K is another part of this whole system, a new cutting-edge logging software. Welcome, Sebastian, and how are you doing tonight, man?
How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Good, doing great. So, I guess you've got a new logging thing out right now. It's called Polo, and that's for Portable Logger, I guess is what Polo stands for?
That's right. It's meant to be an application for... It started as an application for logging POTA, but that's not the only type of activity you can do while on the go. So I started adding things like soda and wildlife, and people have been asking for more and more, like anything on the air, castles, bridges, lighthouses, parking lots. I want somebody to start breweries on the air.
Oh, breweries.
Outhouses on the air. Yeah.
I'm your guy. Let's do it.
Yeah, we need to do breweries on the air.
Yes, I like that one.
Yeah.
So I guess you're gonna share some pictures with us. This guy lives in a really beautiful place. I don't know what he's going to show, but if it's out there, go to his call sign, and it's KI2D, and check out QRZ. He's got a beautiful place where he lives, and I guess he's got his own fishing dock and everything there. I don't know, man. That's what it looked like it to me. But while he's getting ready to share some stuff here, I'll go around the room here. Tio, what do you got going on? Anything good? Anything bad?
I am trying to do some more video editing and stuff. I got a lot of stuff in the queue, and I got a lot of stuff to film, and I have this video I'm in the middle of where it's like I have all of the meat and none of the potatoes. And
yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know how to tie the story together right now. I struggle for my art.
Ape.
I don't know if anybody told you we have a guy for that now.
Do we? I don't know. I don't pay a lot of attention.
We gave Randy a raise.
All right, well, I'll put it out there. Put the link to the Ham2K website in the chat if anybody wants to check it out.
All right. Bunch of times, yeah. Well, I'll go over to Jim. I don't think he's frozen, but it looks like he is. He's not moving.
No, I'm just fascinated. Playing with antennas.
What do you got going on?
Abe keeps yelling at me in the chat to do this and do that, and he chops at me all the time, and he's very bossy. I want to go back to just doing mailing labels and get out of the R&D side of Coffee and Ham Radios because I get yelled at a lot.
Now you know how it is, huh?
Right.
I R&D and mail the antennas, man.
Very demanding.
Speaking of stuff that you boys need to do, we need pictures and stuff in the slide deck for Saturday.
Right now,
I know, but I'm just saying there's a lot of lollygagging going on around here.
Daddy and Daddy are fighting again.
Giving you about 10 pictures. I got more tonight.
Chuck is the worst offender, just being honest about it.
Let's be clear. Yeah, it's not Jim.
Yeah, I was doing all the work, and then after I did it all, you said, "Oh, could you start saving that stuff?" You know, after I had a bunch of stuff done.
It is true. Charles.
It is true.
Nice try.
Chuck is making up. See what we deal with, Sebastian?
I don't know how you save all them pictures. Right. I'm like, yeah, good point.
Yeah. Speaking of getting on Chuck's case, do you have those pink tumblers in yet, Jim?
They ain't here.
Yes. Do you?
They're not.
All right, Sebastian, I'm going to let you talk now and tell us what we're looking at.
So that's my QTH. It's we live about 90 miles northwest of New York City, in Sullivan County, in the Catskill Mountains. We live right next to a lake. We got lucky there. When we bought the house, the lake was half dried because the dam had broken. And 2 years later, the town managed to find the money to fix it, and we suddenly had lakeside property.
Nice.
There's a family of 4 eagles living in the lake right now. Every morning we get a little bit of an air show.
That's nice.
Yeah. You have the bald eagles?
Yep, bald eagles.
Do they come down and catch fish? And we were out fishing one time, and this thing come down, just grabbed this huge. We're not catching anything, but he was catching. You
see them fishing. Like a couple of years ago, I even saw an eagle fish and then go up in the air, and another eagle fighting it for the piece of fish.
That's cool.
They dropped it, and the eagles like swooped down and grabbed it in midair. That was like a fantastic show that I think we were really lucky
That's cool
to see there.
That's pretty breathtaking when you see stuff like that. When you're just like there's no sound at all of a sudden you just see that thing swoop down and grab a fish and take off.
Yeah, no, it is. And I mean, I try to take advantage of the lake as much as I can. This photo actually made it to QRT magazine. My first field day.
Nice.
I went
really?
like I'm a pandemic ham. I got my license in 2020, and I barely knew what I was doing when I decided to let's make it fun and do field day with a bit of a challenge. And the photo made it to QRT magazine. Is like forget which number, but like the one where they announced the results of field day of 2020. We try to take advantage of the lake as much as I can. I mean, this is my QSL card has this photo.
Oh, nice.
It's a really. I mean, I used to play with a drone. Where did I put this photo?
So you're a photographer too.
I haven't done that much photography lately, to be honest. But well, that's life to you. We jump from one hobby to the other.
Right.
Let me show this here. Here you go. That was a nice drone shot of me hanging in the hammock on this floating barge I built, and a very nice summer afternoon, drinking a little bit of whiskey. And this is where I learned that drones, drones float exactly like a brick does.
I bet they do.
Good thing you recovered the footage.
When they first came out, you had that return to home thing. A lot of people would take them out in boats, and what they didn't realize is they left home in the boat, and so it went back to where they started.
Home is where the boat was.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's like I lost that drone.
Oh man.
But yeah, we tried to do all we can. Like I have a photo here. Yeah, this one. This was winter field day with the.
I'm sorry.
The
the
rest
lake?
of it.
Still the lake?
The frozen lake, and this is the Sullivan
nice.
County Aries group. We did a little bit of operating from the middle of a frozen lake.
That's
that was
cool.
fun. Even did some satellite.
We know a guy that has a tent. He could come up and help you out next time with a nice warm tent.
No, I've been planning on getting a tent for that in particular for winter operation. That was the same winter field day at the end of the day with the sunset and the DX commander here that survived with strong winds that day. That was a very fun winter field day.
Looked like you were building a fire in the last picture.
With there's let me see if I can find the photo with the fire. But yeah, we built a fire. I almost brought the grill down to cook some beef. Get dinner ready.
Usually.
Yeah.
I was doing POTA the other day, Bill. I caught you.
All right.
The frozen lakes are fun to like fly into and visit for the weekend, and then fly away back to better weather.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't you know the story? Tell us the story about your new logger and how it works, what it does. I've seen some videos, and I don't even know if those people know everything that it does, like you probably do. And I think they were actually on older versions already. Because you're in beta right now.
The app, the app is in beta, and I've been like shipping updates all the time. It's funny, every time I see somebody doing a video, it's like, you're like 5 versions behind. That thing you're complaining about, you're right, that was fixed. It started basically because I've never been too happy with any of the logging apps out there. In general, I haven't found one that's perfect for what I need. But logging is also like a very big problem space, if you wish. Like there's lots of things to do in logging. You can do like DX logging. You can keep your main log like kind of like what QRZ does, or any of the DXing toolkits. You can do contest logging. You can do portable logging. So I decided to start with portable logging because I could get something going quickly that was useful. And also because writing software for phones is a big challenge. But once you solve the problem on a phone, it's easier to bring it to a desktop app. And the opposite is not always true. Like if you can do a great desktop app, and it's going to be really hard to make it work well on the phone. You can go the other direction, and it usually works better. So I decided to start with something simple like POTA logging, and on phones, and then tablets, and then eventually Windows and Mac desktops. And I started working on it last fall, like late October, I think it was. By December, I logged my first POTA activity. In the winter field day for the club, we actually logged it using Polo, and I discovered that it was really, really bad at doing more than 100 QSOs, and then went and fixed it. I mean, one of the things I think it makes an application better is what they call dog fooding. It's like eating your own dog food. Every time I go out and do an operation with Polo, I come back and I fix 5 things that annoyed me.
I wish I could do
that. That's a superpower you get when you work on like software development, or you do like, or you're a maker, or when you can build things, you can fix the things that annoy you. And I think that's a superpower. So I decided to, let's see what we can do here to make a good application, and slowly build more and more features. I think now it's a pretty well featured logger. It basically has the same features that you find in other applications that try to do. I'm not going to say competitors, because I don't think there's a competition or anything like that. But that other logging apps do basically the same thing, and I think we do more than that than many.
So you for the beta stuff, do you have a place where people that have this can contact you, and hopefully, I don't know how to say this, but you don't get upset when somebody says it needs to do this. It's a learning process, right? Because you know a certain amount, and other people know something they like, and Teal may like, well, we know Jim likes pink cups and stuff like that. Everybody needs something a little bit different. So that's not a problem for you?
No, not at all. I mean,
I like it when Jim argues on mute.
There's a reason.
Good word,
I was typing. The keyboard was loud. Look here.
It was.
Look here. Hold on, Sebastian. Just 1 second, my friend.
Go for it.
Oh, look at
some
that.
Some bitches are on order.
I don't see a
been
date.
shipped. Nope.
This looks like you made that up in Paint.
It says edit in Paint.
He is pretty good at Paint.
I deleted some details that I didn't want to share with everyone on stream, Cletus.
Oh, there you go. All right. No. So he's on it, guys. Don't worry.
They've been ordered.
Even though it looks like plum.
That's the only color. Well, there is a new light purple out, too, if you all want lavender.
It's like hot berry is the color, right? Like hot berry.
Very berry. Very berry.
Very berry, yeah.
All right.
No, they're ordered. They
Sorry for that,
yet.
Sebastian.
I can't help it.
Never apologize for what.
And no, that ain't pink.
He should apologize, not you.
Frank says it does look edited. It looked better in his thumbnail, so I can tell you that.
Listen, I mean, Frank's YouTube stream has got sketchy people on it. Like, you were on his YouTube stream. I mean, I don't know about Frank's legitimacy at that point.
All right, let's back to Sebastian. We were talking about whether how you're taking information back to maybe. And
you were asking, we have a Discord server where people can join and report any bugs they find, bring their ideas, share their experience, and it's really like it's a Discord. It's a fun place to be.
Yes.
It's full of nice people, and that's where most of the activity happened. There's a mailing list too. You can find all of those links in ham2k.com. If you go there, you'll get to the Polo and the links for the Discord, and that's where you can find the links to download the beta version of the app. The Android version is already available in the Play Store. If you search, it's easier to find if you search for Ham2K. Polo doesn't bring you it quickly. There's plenty of other things with that in the name, but Ham2K seems to work fine to finding it. The iOS version is distributed through TestFlight, which is like Apple's beta software distribution system, and it's going to be in the App Store soon. And by soon, I mean probably next week or something like that. I need to finish a couple of details. I love people come and tell me what's wrong with Polo. Sometimes I will disagree, but I want to hear.
Right. Well, you need to hear it still, just to make sure you know for sure.
Yeah.
So why don't you explain explain the whole the Polo name and the other name? Just that you had a really quick explanation for that, and that was good.
The idea is that Ham2K is the quote unquote company or organization or the group name where I'm trying to put all the ham radio software I'll be writing. There's already there something I did last year, which is for the DX Marathon, a way to analyze your log and help you create an entry for the DX Marathon, CQ DX Marathon. I ended up joining the organizing committee and help write the software to manage the submission for the DX Marathon now. But Polo is the big app right now. I have dreams of making a whole suite of apps. Who knows it'll happen or not. Ask me in 6 months or 6 years. I'm not a retired ham. I have a full-time job, so this is like a nights and weekends project. But I still, I mean, there's lots of things I want to build. If anything, for myself, like I want to have the I want to solve all the things that annoyed me in other apps that I find missing or lacking or that I wish they had. And instead of complaining, I went and started my own, basically. That's the whole explanation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we did with our antennas. We were just trying to make an antenna for ourselves, and then it ended up turning out that we did a video on them, and all these people were like, "Hey, can I get one of those?"
Mm-hmm.
And
it only took us 4 tries to get it right.
Right?
Yeah.
It just started.
Well, I used to piss Ape off because I go, "We got to put a hole here." He goes, "Wow, we got to put a hole there." I go, "Just trust me, dude. I took it out. It needs a hole."
And that's not how it worked. I was telling you, I said, "You need to put a hole there."
Worked.
And then
Again, boys,
you had them supports upside down.
But it's that you have to do it 4 times. You have to go in the field, play with the antenna, fail, see that it was missing a hole. It made you angry, and you went back and drilled the hole that was missing. Then you realized that it was too big and it broke the.
And I'll ask Jim this question. Jim, who was the guy that was taken out in the field and using it? Was it Ape?
Son, I would use mine in the backyard.
I was going to say he wasn't in the field. He was in the backyard.
Yeah,
because that's where the Miller Lite stays close.
He's got the fastest printer. We can't get him to use it.
He doesn't have the fastest printer.
You guys had a few questions. I saw starred.
I did. So the first question I was going to say, so Sebastian, you're a software developer by trade, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah. That's what I've been doing for a long time.
Okay. That makes sense because the interface on this thing looks pretty good, pretty functional. So it's like you can tell there's experience in there. A lot of ham apps are written by smart engineering types, but they're not very intuitive or user friendly.
And they have this very retro vibe of circa 1998. Most of them.
Oh, they weren't retro when they were made.
Yeah.
Yes.
that was cutting edge when they were made.
Yep. Yeah. There's a few modern apps. I mean, Hammers was one of the first decent more modern loggers. The PODA website is actually very well built.
Yep.
Ham Alerts is very well built. Another open source project that participated with Grid Tracker is also a very useful app. There's plenty of good software, but I also know exactly what you mean with the style of apps that electrical engineers build.
Right.
They all look like they were written when Windows 1998 came out and was new and shiny.
Well, they'll just have like a million buttons that are just on the, I need a button for this, a button for that, a button, and they're not grouped by function. There's no functional menuing system.
They thought
kind of like a Yaesu menu. Is that what you're saying, Abe?
Well, I'm not trying. All right, so here's the first question, and it comes from our good buddy Ham Jazz Simon. Does the Polo cache the call signs offline like AC Log does, so you can instantly see how many QSOs you've had and their names and how many times you've spoken to them, etc.?
I mean, the answer is yes to all of those, I believe. It uses it right now. It does call lookups using QRZ.com, so you need to have a subscription or at least an account there. Mm-hmm. I plan to support. There's a couple other services that are free and let you do lookups, but they only work for the US, not for international calls. So QRZ was the place where with the largest database, but I'm going to add support for other services. It will do that lookup and save it on the device, on the phone, and the next time you contact that same call, it will use the data from the database instead of and especially if you're offline. You can also get, I downloaded my entire 27,000 QSO ADIF file and loaded it as basically a historical record, so that any QSO that is in there will work for me while I'm offline. That's
a question.
That's awesome.
I have. Can you download QRZ, and then when you are offline, does it still work? Because I know
not all of QRZ. They don't offer their entire database, but you can download your own log. So wherever data is already in your log, you can access it offline.
All right.
It will show you if you've worked that person before, and maybe it's easier if I show it. Let me share my screen here.
Let's see this thing.
And
I've seen it work. It looks really cool. It's got some really neat things to it.
On an iPhone emulator. It works on iPhone and Android. Just the same code. When it starts, you basically get a list of operations you have. You can start a new operation. You say you want to do POTA. And this will show you the parks nearby based on your locations. You don't even have to search by name, but say that you're near one of those trails that are multi-state. You want to do so if you type by name, it shows Empire State Trail, and you can click it. And you can also do a threefer if that happens to be your lucky location.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that this
was asking that question,
that if you could do twofers, and
how does it handle multiple parks?
You can have them there. I made sure this is one of those little annoyances that bother me from other past operations, is that I would be trying to log and not remember my park number. So I want to have it in a piece of paper written down somewhere, but here I made sure to put the number in a place that was always visible, and the name of the parks in case somebody asked. Here, that's a threefer. It's hard to read the third name, but that's because if you add a tablet, it'll show more. Let's remove one of them. It gets the location from the park, but you can also put your exact grid location from the phone GPS.
Nice.
And you basically start logging QSOs. So you find KN2X. Oh, wait, I need to pick a band before. Otherwise, it doesn't like it. So I have KN2X, and it says, John Lavelle in Woosboro, 42 miles away. I can tap here, and it shows me the most recent QSOs, his picture from QRZ. And if I just press enter, it gets logged, 5959. I don't need to change the signal reports because some people don't even bother with that. Or most of the time you get 559s, so that doesn't matter. You find another one, you give them a 4444. The state, it comes from the QSO you made. You start logging them just fine. It has a little database of what I call the hams of note. So if you type, say, KK6USY, it'll show a little emoji and say Chuck. And this is actually a working link. You can even open the YouTube link.
Look at that.
Right there.
Nice. Glad I made it.
if you use like KM9G, you get the toad. So I built a little list of people. The smoking ape is actually there. If you guess there, the smoking ape's call sign, it'll show up with a gorilla with a cigar.
Good luck with that.
And then you can do things like the typical. You can show them on a map. If you tap here, it'll show you the person's the contact information, the distance, when it happened, etc. If you put different signal levels, like this one is orange because it was a 4.4 instead of a 5.9. So let me see if I have an operation here that has maybe this one will show lots of things in the map. I think that this has, yeah. So but this is what it looks like if you only do 5.9. That was a winter field day. We didn't have time to enter signal reports. This is more what it looks like when you, hold on, I need to give it a location. Otherwise, it doesn't know how to draw the lines. Did I put a location? No. Oops. There's a bug. This is why the software is beta. Nothing that like demonstrating software live to find the bugs.
So have you released this through test flight in iOS, Sebastian? Because we had a question about somebody has it beta and he's like, how do I get an update?
The test flight should give you an update. The latest one should be the 0.7 versions. That's the version you get from test flight or from the App Store. And then the app does its own series of quick incremental updates that you can trigger in the version field here. You check for updates and you can get the interim updates that come every day or every couple of days.
So Sebastian, Ron in the chat is asking you to go in and fix the bug right now live.
Ron is a Windows guy, so you just take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Oh, he's used to bugs then. That's
right. He is. That's a daily thing for Ron.
The app has lots of little things, like, for example, you can spot yourself. So if I put, let's see, if I want to do 7200, I can spot myself there, and I can even set the comments for my spot, and that will put me in the PODA website. I'm not going to do it right now because
you're not there.
It wouldn't be nice.
Nobody'd hear you anyway.
Do park to park. So if somebody calls you and they're at a park, it will let you enter their park just there. Say that I have WV3H. No, I have WV3H.
So are we typing everything in the same spot every time?
You type here to call, but then for the PODA, you click here to enter the park. What it does here, for example, you don't need to type the US as part of a PODA. If you type the numbers, it'll pick the park from that.
It adds US.
If you leave a space and you type another number, it lets you enter the second park.
Nice.
If by chance Mike is actually in V, then it'll put the Canada for the park. It's smart enough. If I already have the calls and I know where that operator is, so their park reference has to start with CA, so I don't need to enter that. Little things like that are there in the app. There are things you can do typing in this line here. For example, if I was parked on 7200 and I say I want to move to 7300, I type it here. It will update the frequency here. Or if I change to CW, it'll change it there. I can even do like 0.320. It'll bump me to 320. It has little things like that. If I want to change the time, sorry?
Is that updating into the PODA site also?
If I go to spotting, it will let me respot at that new frequency.
Okay.
And actually, the default message will be QSY. So that it'll and if I stay at the same frequency for more than 5 minutes and I come back here, the default message will be QRT, that's probably what you want to do in your message. You can always come here and change it to whatever you want it to be, like something like that.
Every time I set up, I'll be there for like 10 minutes, and somebody will set up. I'm at 250, and they'll be at 251. You know.
So the updates of the spots are not automatic, in part because my experience is that I want to be at the frequency for a bit to make sure that it works before I update the spots. But it's like all you need to do is open the spot and hit that button, and it'll go live on the website. And speaking of spots, you can also see this is the current spots. So if you want to go searching for park to park, all you need to do is tap here, and it will be placed here. The park to park reference will be already updated.
Oh, nice.
You have it all there.
I usually do that first. I pounce first, and then I set up if I need to.
Yeah, I tend to try to find an open spot, start trying to call CQ, and if it gets too slow, then I'll go searching for park to park.
Right.
It's but the idea is that I built it so that you don't have to leave the app. Before I was always switching to the POTA website to do the spotting, back to the application, trying to remember what was my frequency. Let me enter the frequency everywhere. One of the dream features I want to build, and I will do it even if it costs me my entire summer. I want to make it have cat control, so that you don't have to enter the frequency. You'll get it from the radio with Bluetooth or with serial if it's possible.
That would be cool, because I'm like 3 into it when I've changed frequencies. Like,
yeah.
Oh, dang, I need to change.
No. The frequency has to be automatic. You need to have cat control.
Right.
And one of the guys in the Discord showed me there's this little Bluetooth serial adapter that costs like $20, and you connect it has the terminals for the different serial lines. You build a cable that works with your rig, and you get a Bluetooth serial adapter for your rig. That will probably be all we need. So I order a couple of those because I know I'm going to burn the first one, and I'm going to try to get it to do cat control. I have a Xiegu G90. That's my main POTA radio, and I want to see if I can do cat control there, and then try to get my hands on an ICOM 705 on whatever, the FX4 CR, any popular radios for POTA, and start adding support for them. That'll be like really nice to have cat control.
I actually have one of those for my 857, and I don't know if it would do the same. I'm pretty sure it probably does. The same thing.
I'm sure it's the same thing, Chuck, because I have one for the 817. It's that little mini DIN connector you plug in, and it's got a little board on the back of it.
Right. Actually, I think that's right.
And the app was built a little bit with this architecture of plugins, of extensions and app features, so that you can enable. I only have Parks on the Air activated here. You can do summits on the air, WWFF. There's even a custom activity that will support anything that uses the ADIF SIG info tag. So if you're doing Castles on the Air and you know your reference, and you don't have to wait until we build the plugin for Castles on the Air. You can use it for logging that. I built support for field days, and quickly added the solar eclipse QSO party. This call sign notes is the one that lets you manage the call signs. The different apps have also, they download their databases to the phone, so you can manage those here. So the database with all the parks and reference for WWFF was downloaded right now. You can refresh it. My POTA parks was downloaded 2 days ago. It automatically re-downloads it after 7 days, or you can tell it to refresh it now if there's a particular new park you want to activate and want to make sure you have it. Same thing with the database that has the hams of note that I keep on my server. You can refresh it. The country files, which is how the call signs are parsed, is a very complete database. It also gets updated once a week, or if you hit refresh. The little emojis that show up when you type a call sign, you can define your own. You can add a new file, and if you put it on a server somewhere, it's just a file with a call sign and a text after the call sign, and it will show up whenever you enter that call sign. This is where you add your ADIF database to, so it shows everywhere. There's lots of settings. Like if you want, this is a nice one that someone suggested. Force the device to be awake when you're logging on a phone. You don't want it to turn off on you every 30 seconds. People have their preference on how they want their log files to be named. You can pick I prefer to have the date first and more words. Some people, this was the original POTA requirement. It's no longer required to be this way, but people like it this way. And one nice thing I forgot to show. When you're done with your operation, you export your log files, and I will save to files here in my phone. And if I go to files, I now have 2 separate files, one for each of the 2 parks I activated.
Sweet.
So you can literally go directly here on the POTA website, and the little trick is that if you want to do the POTA upload from here, if you go to the, I'm not logged in here. Let me see if I can. I don't have it. I don't have it saved. But if you go, you can go on the uploads page, and it will tell you that it doesn't work on a phone on something that small. If you pinch the page and zoom out, or if you're in Chrome, in the menus, there's an option that says use desktop mode. That'll let it work, and you can upload your log right from your phone as you walk back to your car after the activation is done. And that's I want to make it built into the app so that ideally you would be able to, instead of export log files, it'll be an option that says just submit to POTA. But they don't have a public API just yet. As soon as they build it, I'm going to be up that night until it's ready. That's the feature I'm going to have.
That's when I'm going to really love it.
Yeah, and you can do also parks on the air and flora and fauna at the same time, for example. If you have that option enabled. Parks on the air and soda is a popular one. And again, if you export log files, you'll see that now it's trying to export 3 documents. It'll do 1 log for each of the activities you're doing. Right now, I'm working on making it be nicer and take more advantage of the screen space in a tablet. And then I want to make sure I get it to work on Windows. That's going to take a bit more work, but it's totally possible to get it. I just need to set up a full development environment on a Windows machine, and I have the machine. I don't have the environment set up yet, so that's going to take a few days. But I definitely want to make it run on Windows. It runs on Macs. You can if you have a Mac with a new processor, it will run as if it were an iPad app, and it runs just fine. It will.
What's considered a new? Is that M1s?
The
series?
Apple Silicon, the M1, M2, M3.
Okay. Dang it.
Yeah, Intel. I might be able to build a version for Intel later, but that's going to be less of a priority and more of a complication.
There's one of those Bluetooth dongle deals right there.
Yeah, there you go. I need to do
radio.
This is for 857. Probably fits the 818, the 897, a bunch of different ASUS.
Yeah,
I'll probably fix my 847.
I don't know what it all fits. Originally, that was to bring a nice phone screen for an 857. It was kind of. Sebastian could probably do a lot nicer one.
I mean, as soon as I start getting cat control, I'll probably want to do not just keeping track of the frequency you're on, but some more features. Probably even voice keying if the device lets you do it.
With the modern interface stuff that you're doing and the way you're going with cat control and that, I think you could rewrite a whole lot of ham apps so they look like they were made in this millennium.
This started as Portable Logger. It doesn't mean it's going to be only POTA and only like
that's where I was going with
activations.
Because I could see some functionality of another major software suite being replaced by something that looked like it was written when Windows 95 wasn't cool.
Yeah. I want to push this a little bit into the contest logging space. And one of my dream features that no contest logger does is I want to be able to do 3 QSO parties at the same time. You know, one of those weekends where there's like 3 different states with their QSO parties at the same time, and trying to switch your logging app from one QSO party to the other just to log the next guy is a nightmare. So I think that just like you can do POTA and SOTA on the same activity here, you should be able to do 2 or 3 contests at the same time and POTA while you are activating POTA, for example.
So besides the cat control for the login function, do you see yourself going towards rig control for multiple rigs kind of thing?
Potentially, yes. There's lots of things I want to do. I have I have a Flex and a Yesu FTDX10 that I would love to have more control. I do some things with Node-RED, but I would love to have more advanced control and interface for some of those, for controlling the radio, for macros and changing the config of the radio and doing things like that.
One of the more current apps that I've seen, and we've talked about them before on here, is Marcus Roscosh.
Smart SDR.
Yes,
and
Smart SDR. But also the ICOM version he made called SDR Control, which it was a great program. I don't even have any ICOMs anymore, and I still like the program.
Yeah.
But, that was a really consistent interface, both Smart SDR or SDR Control, because they're written by the same guy and look like mostly the same program. But it was a really current, easy-to-work interface, and there's a lot of the rig control stuff that, is just the interface is antiquated and not well put together, and Marcus did a smoking hot job on both of those. Unfortunately for a lot of people, they're Mac only, so that kind of rules out a lot of folks. But
these apps, I'm building them using a framework called React Native that lets you do native applications for iOS and Android. It's a framework built by Facebook, and then Microsoft picked it up and they use it also to build Windows applications. Part of Office is written using it these days, but the core is basically JavaScript, so it's not too hard for people to jump in and understand, and maybe not write it from scratch, but to modify things in the app. And the app is open source. You can go and check the source code right now. The link is if you download the app, there's a link in it. I don't have a link on the ham2k.com website, but I should put one. But it's going to be open source. And another question people always ask if it's going to be free. And yes, so it's going to be free as in, like software developers say, it's going to be free as in speech and free as in beer. You don't have to pay for it. All the features will be available for everybody. I do want to build a kind of a supporters club where people can contribute money and help fund the development and help keep my interest in the app, help justify the purchase of new radios to build the cat control for them and things like that. And I might also continue doing some kind of like cloud services, like a cloud backup or somewhere where you can centralize your logs and analyze your logs on a browser in the cloud.
Yeah, that's
that I might charge for some like
SDR Control will do those. It'll back those up to your iCloud account.
iCloud.
Yeah.
So, Sebastian, do you have a PayPal or a Venmo or something like that folks could donate to?
Not yet. I'm trying to set all that and make it. I will be taking donations. Don't worry, people. Save that money and actually try to make it earn some interest in the process. So if you want to donate $10 and wait 6 months and donate 11, and I'll take that.
That's how bad interest rates are now.
Yeah,
that was a good interest rate.
But yes, I want to build that. I want to build the Ham2K QSL club. I'm going to call it. People that are supporting the app, and all you get is access. I mean, there will be like special channel in the Discord. You get more access to me, and I'll pay more attention to you because money talks. But there's no special feature only for people who pay, at least not in the app, and definitely not any major important feature. I might build something just for fun for supporters, but not the core functionality of the app is always going to be free, and because it's open source, you can always go get it yourself and build it. And so even if I start charging in the app stores, you can always get the free version yourself directly from the source code.
So somebody was asking, can you use this as just a general logger? So like if you weren't operating Poda or Soda or anything like that, that's where you use the custom setup.
Yeah, you can even without custom, you can start just an operation and it'll let you do. You can even save any park references and Soda references of people you contact. They're no longer park to park; they're just park. But yes, you can use it that way. I haven't yet built any good way of managing a single general log that grows and grows and grows. Right now, it's basically you're dividing it into separate operations. You do one park, you get 10 QSOs or 100 or 500, and that operation is done. Then the next day you start a new operation and you do it again.
Even if you're at the same park, like can you append?
If you're at the same park, in fact, let me see. Oh no, I did it. If you're at the same park, I mean, Poda lets you do more than one park, more than one day in a single log. So if you start operating at 6 p.m. and we cross the midnight in UTC, so that starts a new Poda day. The app will actually tell you if you're working somebody the second time on a different Poda day. It'll tell you that it's not a dupe, but it's actually a new Poda day. And in the end, it produces a single log, and you can submit that. If you go, but the idea is that log, you will then upload it to Poda. And once you upload it to Poda, you want to close that activity. You don't want to reuse that activity because then it's hard to track what you have updated already, what not. So you create a new log for a new activation. And for general logging, that's not the case because you don't have that upload. You need to build. You can do general logging, but it's not yet the most. Doesn't help you manage your log the way I want it to. As soon as I can get time to build that part of the application. But yes, the idea is that it will let you do just regular login too, no problem. And some people are starting to use it because of the Poda spots that automatically populate the app. It's a nice tool to do just Poda hunting.
That looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Chris Breck, I don't know if we answered this or not, but he wanted to know why did it install in the secure folder on an Android? I don't know if that's something he did or if that makes sense.
He probably installed via the browser. I've made the APK, the basic Android application file available so people can install it without going through the app stores. But then you have to keep updating it manually that way. I don't know if that's what Chris is talking about, but that could have been what he means.
Yeah, he said he did it from a browser.
Via the browser, yeah. And I see Ham Jazz asking about Soda. You can do Soda and Poda and both. Soda spotting is not there yet in the app. I have the first person helping me contribute with the open source. That's working precisely on that. Steve in England, Mike 1 Sierra Delta Hotel. He's working literally this afternoon. He was talking to me that he was building Soda and WWFF spotting. That one button will spot you on all three of the sites if you're operating all three.
Okay. Yeah, that would be nice on the and I sent and we
I'm sorry, I really want to thank Ape for the offer he made of matching the first 100 donations. That's very generous of you.
Yeah, I'm glad to help out where I can.
Well, he makes the big bucks. General manager or world manager. What was it? I forget what his title
Intergalactic.
is. Intergalactic. And did I ask this? I can't. It will post. It will only post you as long as you have service, though, right? Like if you're going to
the spotting. No, yeah. There's another app called.
It's hard to do otherwise.
I have it in my phone here. Remember, Sodamat. SOTAMAT. Sodamate is the pronunciation.
Sodamate, yeah.
That actually does spotting offline. The guy built a very brilliant idea, which is he can send an FT8 signal. So with the phone, it will generate the sound of the FT8 encoding, and it works. You put the phone next to your radio hand mic. You hit the button, it'll send that message. The PSK network will pick it up. If you send it a couple of times, it'll be on the PSK network. So, and he has a server that looks for those messages and will spot you when he gets the message.
That's pretty slick.
That's a really slick feature.
I want to box there.
Yeah, and he built it also. You can send text messages to people with pre-defined messages and things like that using FT8. That was a brilliant idea he had there. So if you want to do offline spotting, Sodamat or Sodamate is your tool.
Nice. Do you guys have any other questions? Where we're at on time? We're pretty close still.
We're at about 10 minutes, Chuck.
I started some questions. We covered that one.
I think most of them got answered, but
yeah, unstar them. We've covered them.
So what are the most popular radios for SOTA and POTA that people like to build cat control for?
Well, for
G90,
yes, for SOTA, I would say
the Elecrafts,
the KX2s, KX3s, and then all the little ones that do. I mean, Tio probably knows all the names of those things. The ones that do like CW and stuff like that. The mountain toppers.
Yeah. The true SDX or those
kind of things. For POTA, just about any radio. I mean,
the G90 is probably the most popular.
The G90 is a POTA workhorse. Yeah.
But I think right now people are using 7300s.
Behind that.
I think a lot of people now are taking 710, the 7300s, the DX10. I had a 991A, which I think probably a lot of that stuff on those radios will all kind of be the same, I would think. Just thinking out loud, but I mean, like the 705 and the 7300 would probably use the same.
Yeah, that's probably not too different.
Yeah.
But
I know Yaesu doesn't give you
the 891.
The 891's another one, yeah, for 857 if you have old ones, and then you got your 7100s. Those are radios they don't sell anymore.
Yeah,
it would be nice to actually use those because it's like I wanted to buy a topper for my truck, but since I have an older truck, they don't make certain toppers. Don't make them because you have an old truck. Who cares? But a lot of people still use those other ones.
I'm going to start to ask. I'm going to have to start asking people to send me radios to build to be able to test the cat control for them.
Right.
They build a little radio library.
It'll all happen. So we had another question from Andrew. He wanted to know, can the program allow for both POTA and SOTA sites plus multiple parks and then export the logs separately?
Yes, it'll do as many parks as you want. It'll write a separate log for each one of them. It will also do the thing where if you contact someone at a twofer, it'll put their QSO twice in the ADIF file. In the app, it'll show it as a single row, but it'll put two little tree icons to show that you have two parks with that person, but it'll be doubled in the file. It'll save a separate log for each one of the activities. If you do something like I did POTA and Eclipse QSO party during the eclipse, and it exports an ADIF for POTA and the Cabrillo file for the Eclipse QSO party. Same thing if you do winter field day or regular field day. It will do as many logs as the activities you have require.
Yes,
and each one of them will
types.
And each one of them will have this the whatever's needed for that activity in it.
Gotcha.
Or that's the idea. Sometimes it doesn't, but that's why it's a beta and not a full release just yet.
It's pretty cool. There's a lot of features that as far as I know, other ones don't do that, but that it would be just like me not to know it. But I do like a lot of this. It's nice that you can just click on it and it puts your park in there for you, and I'm sure the way it puts it in there is the right way that POTA wants it. I think they've gone away from has to be exactly right, but I know there for a while they're real touchy on how you put the data in, how you put the park in.
Yeah,
but I think that all changed.
But they're mostly flexible these days. As long as you have a date, a band, a mode, and a call sign, that'll take the log. But if you wanna get credit for the park to parks, that's when you need to put the parks the right way. The other parks.
Yeah.
But
you can click on some of those if you have service, right, and do that.
Yes. No. If they're in the spot and you have service, you just tap it and it'll get the whole for you. You don't need to type anything. Just hit submit. Press the save button. And it'll go in. There's some features in the app if you want to enter your QSOs manually after the fact. If you log on paper and then you want to write it down, like the app will pause if you change the time. Normally, we'll just run the current clock, but if you change the time to something else, it'll stop moving the clock. And when you enter someone, it bumps the time by 1 minute, and you enter the next person, it bumps it by 1 minute. If you change it to something different than a minute, so if you change the time, it'll basically bump. The next one will go up as much as the last two did. So if you want to start manually entering all your QSOs quickly, that'll save you having to type the times, for example.
That's cool.
And I mean, the goal here is a nice problem to have is going to be having too many features and figure out how to make them not look that complicated. But the goal is to be both simple and I want to make simple things easy and hard things possible. And I'm not going to stop for a while adding new features. Part of the reason of calling it beta is not just because it crashes. It does every now and then. It might lose state. You might lose a log. It rarely happens, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. But it's mostly because it's changing all the time. Like if you bring it and open it a week later, it might have changed. Things might move around. There might be new features or an old feature has changed. It's going to be a while before it settles down because there's lots of things that we still need to add to it. But I think that's also part of the fun to be able to influence the development. And I see that Sean asks if the opening splash screen was AI generated. It was. It definitely was.
I was going to tell him that was a picture of me that Javi got when we were out one time up the mountain, but
if you actually zoom into the picture, it has the Smoking Apes call sign in the.
It's carved. You weren't supposed to tell anybody that. That was our secret.
No, but I think that's really cool that you take that community aspect to the development side, right? Because it makes people feel that they're part of the project and helping build community around it, right? Which is fantastic.
And I might be smart and brilliant or whatever, but I'm only one guy. I need more people to help, and the more the merrier, and the more we can get. It'll help the app go further, but also it will ensure that the app will still be there if I get tired of it or I can't work on it anymore, or if I get busy with work one time. I don't want it to be just me. I want it to be there are a group of people that can take care of the app when I don't. Because there's also a lot of abandonware.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that's where POTA has gone, because they have a lot of people, I think, that work on that whole system now, and it keeps getting better and better because more people and more ideas, and then the feedback. I'm sure. I mean, they're taking feedback on what people don't like, and I didn't like the old system where you had to send it to a person that and then they had to send it in and stuff like that. So I kind of shied away from it for a while. So I don't even mind on the soda. It's just I log everything myself. No ADA files or anything. But it sounds like now I know soda stuff is more time. Like if you come back off a paper and put it in and it does it a minute, I don't know if that will be accepted by them. I don't know, because they're pickier. You might ask your guy.
I mean, if yes, no, and if that's the case, then you better enter your times correctly. That's.
But if they're pickier about stuff.
If you're doing an operation where it's not important, if you're doing an operation where the signal reports don't matter, then you don't need to enter the signal reports.
Right.
They want to know if you can use a club call in addition to using your call when you're logging.
When you configure the app, it asks you for the operator call, basically your own call. But on each operation, you can change that to anything else. So you can have that whatever call you're operating under at the time. One thing I have not done yet is a good thing where we can have a club call, but also multiple operators that pass the phone around, or when you have two people operating the same park, they want to produce two logs for each of them. That's not in the app yet, but it's in the to-do list.
There's a lot of those people now. I mean, couples going out and do that stuff nowadays. Or at least, I mean, not like me and T.O. when we did ours.
Just tell her to get her own phone.
Right.
That's right.
And radio.
Right.
All right. Well, we've pretty much come to the end of the time there, Sebastian. This is great. I mean, I'm not a computer guy, but these guys are, and they see that you're actually in this century, so that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy with some of the old stuff. I don't know. It's just
the name Ham2K was also a little bit of a wink.
Oh yeah.
To the fact that we're in a new century.
Have been for 24 years.
2 decades later.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for being here.
Really cool.
Thanks for having me.
We'll probably bring you back later on when you get farther along with this, and you can tell.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd love to demo whatever new features we come up with and all that.
Yeah.
And we set up the Coffee and Ham Radio QSO party contest. We'll have to get you to add a thing in there for that too.
I'll add that. I'll add that. Yep.
It's going to happen. We've been talking about it for a while.
No, after you committed to matching all the first 100 donations,
right, how could you not?
Definitely going to add the contest.
It's going to very quickly make 100 1-penny donations and match them. Send you $2.
Yeah.
And even Don said, "Great app." So you get Don's approval. We don't always get that,
and that's not easy to get him on your side.
It's not easy.
For sure.
Is that killer little dog of yours, Abe?
No, it's mine.
It's not mine.
Oh, that was yours? Well, that didn't sound like your dog. All right, everybody. I think we're going to head out of here. And thanks, everybody, for coming to the show tonight and watching and participating. It was a great show.
Sebastian, thank you for coming. Great guest.
Yeah,
man.
we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Did anybody push the
everybody?
button?
I got